down. But what I remember about the Bill Cosby show, because I used to watch it a lot, yeah, is the fact that it's like they've said, they demystified all the stereotypes, because they had, as much as they had majority black actors, they also had white actors, one or two in the show. And I'm taken back to the professor that we hosted here on Friday, Professor Mahakmed, yeah, and what he said about anti-blackness in America, but then you could see it in this show completely, 100%.
Okay,
you could see it. It was really like, it was really brought out. And for me, hearing that this guy has lost his life at such a young age, 54 surely, and then through to accidental drowning. Yeah, it wasn't suicide or anything, it was just accidental drowning. It's really sad. And I feel like America has lost part of its history as far as the fight against racism is concerned. Yeah, because these are some of the guys who literally embodied that fight, for lack of a better word. They might not have gone to the streets or, shot guns in the air, but for them, they used the art to literally speak against some of these atrocities. Yeah, so may he rest in peace. I actually enjoyed one of these shows that he acted recently, like I've told you, The Resident.
Yes.
Brilliant series.
I think I'll go and watch.
Brilliant series. And he obviously, having been an actor for a very long time, he has really he came of age for me. And I was actually wondering why we're not seeing him in more and more movies, or maybe they're there, maybe Nimimis does he watch. I was really wondering why, because he's a brilliant actor. The way he just brings out a character, my goodness, it's absolutely amazing. So may he rest in peace.
Still on our website, movie.
Yes.
There is this story about Maraga. Kenyans have raised over 500,000 for his 2027 presidential bid. So Maraga said that he is determined to overhaul Kenya's political system, particularly the high cost barrier that locks out potential leaders without deep pockets. So he claimed that Kenyans have donated over 500,000 shillings within just 2 days to support his 2027 presidential campaign.
Okay.
A move he describes as a clear sign of public yearning for change. Yeah, within 2 days, by the way, I saw it all over yesterday, yeah? And it is on our website. You can go and read further that within 2 days, Wakenya wamechanga nusu milioni.
I hope Wakenya si watatu, mmoja akampatia 200,000, mwingine akampatia 150,000, mwingine akampatia the remaining 150,000.
Well, clearly from his statement, he's saying that it is a clear sign that Kenyans are yearning for change. The public is yearning for change.
Unajua hata mimi nikiweka pay bill number na nipate watu wawili wanichangie 25 shillings each na nipate 50 bob, niseme wow, Kenyans are really serious about my campaign.
But let me ask
yearning for change.
Let me ask you. So, okay, because this is just 2 days. 2027 is still far, and he has come up, of course, with that platform for Kenyans to help in raising funds for the campaign.
Yes.
So my question is, it doesn't matter. Like, if today Wakenya wawili watatu wa metro imefika 500.
Ndio.
And then now, people were not that much aware that he may come up with it. Then right now, by the time to figure 2027 from today, how much do you think Wakenya watakuwa wamechanga?
Well, let's be realistic, because we know that momentum inakuanga hapo at the very get-go. Hapo mara ya kwanza, siku za kwanza ukitisha usaidizi, momentum inakuanga fitu, unarushiwa to 10 bob, 50 bob, 100, 100,000, whatever. Na pesa inafika, ama pia inakosa kufika. Then after that, Wakenya pia wanafanya nini? Wanatulia sasa.
The graph starts dropping.
Yes, because people might assume, bana, kutoka July bana, tuko December, bado Maraga anaitisha pesa, kwani hazitosha? Unaona? Unless he opens up his accounts where he's receiving the money and tells us, guys, look, by the end of July we had contributed 2 million. Yeah. We are targeting, say, 100 million. So kazi kwenu wa Kenya. Well, now that one, we can see, Kenyans can actually see the progress, contributions. Na wale wanataka kuongeza wataongeza, wale hawakuwa wamechanga watafanya nini?
Well, I'm looking at, because he said that he launched a fundraising website Of course, that is aimed at mobilizing the grassroots support as he prepares for the challenge. But now, I've not checked that website to see how it is operating, because of course kuna some of them, they will make it in a manner that you'll be able to see the balance anytime you contribute.
Right.
You can be able to see the balance, you can be able to do whatever. And again, I think because as he's coming in as a presidential candidate,
yes,
one of the issues that Kenyans have been pushing for is transparency. So basically, kama yeye anataka hichi kiti, the first test will be his transparency on this.
Right.
Yeah. Kama ni pesa tunachanga, we want to understand, because by then, let me tell you, Kenyans are good at these contributions. Kenyans are so good, by the way. But now, the problem is when you're not transparent.
Yeah.
When again they feel like you're diverting the funds to your other things, your personal stuff, because we have seen so many other Kenyans trying to mobilize for funds from the public, na tumekuwa tukiona later on unaweza zingine zinaanza kuwa na issues like, we were contributing this money, we were doing the fundraising to do this and this, and these funds have been diverted. So I think this is just a simple test for Maraga, like if Kenyans are contributing for your elections.
From what I understand, former CJ Maraga is an upright citizen, upstanding individual.
Yes.
And Kenyans trust him so far. So good. We've not had any case against him from anyone. During his tenure as a judge and also as Chief Justice, we have literally had to just sketch chochote. So is he as clean as a whistle? Ama kuna mtu anangoja, maybe kuna mtu akona bombshell mahali. And you know the kind of bombshells huwa zinatokezea hapo baadaye. Corruption cases. Yeah. Maybe alikuanga na an extramarital affair, katoto katokeze mahali fulani.
And that is none of our business, by the way.
Unakumbuka wakati President Ruto, when he was DP, there was a child that surfaced somewhere. Yes. So these things are normal. Yeah, we and if they happen right now, I think Kenyans will no longer be shocked. And like you're saying, it is none of our business. However, when you're asking for the position of president of this country, we need to know certain things, including any extramarital affair you had. Sawa sawa.
How is that going to help you?
It is going to tell us the kind of person you are. If you cheated on your wife or if you cheated on your husband, that says a lot about your character.
Well,
and that is why you need, especially when you're in a public position, you're a public figure, you're a celebrity, for example. You're a musician, you're an actor, you're a radio presenter, TV presenter, whatever. Wewe ni public figure. Na watu wanakupenda. Na wanakupendea kile unafanya. Kama sasa watu wanakupenda sababu wewe ni radio presenter. Ile siku utakuwa na extramarital affair, you owe it to the public to tell them what you did, why you did it, and you owe them an apology. A lot of these times we think ati hapana, hii ni maisha yake bwana, mbona mnashughulika mbuvi analalanga na nani? Acha nikwambie, sababu watu wanakuangalia wewe ni role model. Kuna watoto wachanga wadogo rather wanakuangalia hivi, wanasema mimi ningependa kukua kama yule presenter, ningependa kukua kama yule musician, ningependa kuwa kama yule actor. So you owe it to them so that they can understand you're human and you can also make mistakes. But most importantly, they are disappointed in you. So you owe them an apology. Because kuna mtu amekuwa akikuangalia venye unaishi na familia yako na anasema mi when I want to have a family such as that one. But then now they come and discover you've been having something on the side.
So let me ask
you apologize to them.
If somebody had an extra marital affair and there is a child that is involved there, they are taking care of their children. What is the business for us Kenyans to get into that issue? Again,
I am saying if it is a public figure, mtu wa kawaida, private citizen, we honestly don't care. We shouldn't care.
Even if I'm your leader, Mungela, if today you had your 3 wives,
yes,
I don't think it is my business to start.
But you see, as a leader, I need to declare my 3 wives. You don't understand. People need to know their taxes zinaenda wakinilipa mshahara. You see, that's the issue. When you're asking for a public position, you have got to also be public about everything. And that is why even in law, watu wanafaa kujua our president mshahara yake ni ngapi. Akona pesa ngapi? Ndio siku moja tukimuona amevaa nguo za 10 million, tusianze kuuliza kama Wakenya mbona amevaa nguo ya 10 million na tuliacha mshahara yake ni 100,000.
Well, I think for the case of Maraga, what is more key is the issues of maybe accountability, your transparency, and so many other things, and especially now that he's pushing to vie for the position of a president, we would really like to see if Kenyans have done the fundraising, they've mobilized funds, what happens to the funds? Is it going to help him push for this? Because I've also seen that he's also touched about other people, other aspirants who may also not be able to financially support their campaigns. And indeed, they are good leaders. Those are the people that even if, assuming the funds are mobilized, they are but zinapita zile expenses that he feels he should be doing, pia anaweza support, because what we are looking at is the issue of change.
As a public figure right now, what I would ask Maraga to do, especially asking for the highest office in the land, kama kuna kitu Maraga umekuwa ukificha, saizi ndio wakati wa kuja kusema. You remember even Obama, before he went to run for president of the US, what he did? He came to Kenya and exposed his family. Let me expose sometimes sounds weird, but he showed he exhibited, for lack of a better word, his family to the world. Ndio mkaange mkijua, ndio during the campaigns msikuwe distracted, mwanze kusema lakini huyu mtu anakuanga Mkenya, huyu mtu tunajua soso wake anakuanga mahali huko Kenya, huyu mtu brother yake ako hivi na hivi na hivi na hivi. Alikuja akasema, guys, this is my family. This is my grandmother. I come from a place called Kogalo in Kenya, and my father was like this and like that, separated from my mother like this and like that. I went to this school. Akasema baka alikuwa anavuta bangi. Ndio zisitokezee mahali kwa campaign, then people are distracted. Then when he exposed himself in that way, he said, now guys, the reason I was telling you this is because I want to run for president of the United States of America. Kwa hivyo kama wewe uko hapo nje unataka ku run for president, my friend, but in Africa kuna vitu hazitustuangi sana. Ati uko na mabibi watatu huko umetuambia, I mean tutakasirika siku mbili na tusahau, and Kenya moves on. Au watu ulikuanga na mtoto mahali huko, you're a deadbeat dad, wa Kenya watakuongelelea tu siku mbili, kesho kwanza watakupatia kura overwhelmingly after umesha trend. So Maraga, all the best. But I was just looking at a quick profile of our former CJ, David Kenani Maraga. He was born on 12th January 1951, so he's currently aged 74 years. He was born in the former South Nyanza district at the time. He has a child called, and I wasn't expecting this name, Vashti Kemuma. Vashti to me sounds Indian. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe Vashti is also Kisii. I don't know. Mutaniambia wana. Previous office, President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, which also is the CJ, Chief Justice position. He has a spouse. The wife is called Yukabeth Nyaboke. His nationality is Kenyan. His education is at the University of Nairobi, where he also did his undergrad and masters. Siblings, notably Jane Ochengo. That is what we know so far about our Chief Justice, or rather former Chief Justice. And that is why I'm saying he needs to come out right now and tell us anything. Kama kuna chochote wa Kenya hawaji, hata kama kuna kitu alifanya huko back in high school that could be controversial, or that could also be fun, something that can make us endear him even more, love him even more, and look at him and consider, because right now Kenyans know CJ Maraga as perfect. Hana madoa. So kama kuna kakitu angependa kutuambia saizi, ndio pia tumwangalia kama
of course, if there's any issue or anything, I know it, of course it will come out as time goes by.
Atuambie siku moja hata alionjanga nini, alionja bia, tujuange bwana Maraga, you're human. Right now this guy is an angel. Mungala,
there's a story here. Do you remember there's a certain illness that had come up in Mombasa, in some area called Migadini. Watu walikuwa wana furafura. I remember people were saying this could be chicken pox or something.
Okay.
Do you remember, like 2 weeks ago, is it even 2 weeks ago, just a few days ago, between July 9th and 14th. So Brenda Soki has written about this story, whereby there is a lobby linking mysterious Mombasa deaths to unsafe bottle reuse. Unsafe bottle reuse. This is what the story says, that an environmental watchdog in Mombasa has raised alarm over what is believed to be a public health disaster in the making, linking a spate of mysterious deaths in Migadini to the unregulated reuse of glass bottles by beverage manufacturers. So the Genesis of Human Rights Commission has urged the Ministry of Health to move swiftly, warning that the deaths of 4 residents in Matangini village between 9th and 14th may be tied to unsafe bottling practices.
Okay.
Who knows? Maybe this is the beginning of what we feared, the deadly consequences of unregulated bottle refilling, said one Caleb, who is a program director in Ngwena. So this is after a postmortem revealed unusual symptoms on the bodies of the deceased, including burn-like swellings, strong odor emissions, and unexplained increases in the body weight, prompting county authorities to launch a probe. Ajua this reusing of bottles.
Yes.
Pengine kama ni chupa ilikuwa ni ya kuweka certain chemicals and so forth, and then pia mmekuja mmesafisha, mnasema kwamba you want to reuse it. That is why they've talked about a regulation, because sometimes it is good to reuse, to recycle most of these things that we have, the bottles and so forth. But then now there should be some regulation, there should be some laws, like kama ni bottles that are meant, maybe they contained highly ama chemical that zinaweza affect human beings if they are consumed, then I think they need to have some regulations such that such kind of recycled bottles cannot be used to put maybe beverages that humans have to consume. You get? So they are just calling upon the issue of regulation. And I think Mombasa is one area whereby we've been having a lot of issues. Mara sijui kuna mining, mara sijui kuna kampuni zenye zinafanya karibu na residential areas whereby they are emitting maybe toxic gases and such things. I think we just need our country, the authority, the concerned, they really need to be keen on this issue of regulating whatever aspect they are dealing with.
What do you know about the big companies that do not recycling but reusing of these plastics? They go and melt them and then use them again, make fresh bottles from the same material. So if wengine wenye wana reuse ikiwa tu directly, hata hakuna kuosha, hakuna kufanya nini, hapo kidogo kuna shida. And
again, even if they are washing also, nakwambia kuna some things you cannot wash, just like a bottle that had chemicals, kuna chemicals zingine zitabaki pale, so it depends on how like you're sanitizing this thing. So I think the issue of Kenya Bureau of Standards pia wanafaa kuhusika mostly in these things. Wacha hizi stories za watu wakienda mahali, you just unaona something and you're like I don't think he gonna any effect. It's quite important. Those are very sensitive departments and practices that really need to be looked into keenly.
But usisahau hiyo Kenya Bureau of Standards tunawapigia debe sana. Kidogo ndio walikubali sukari ambayo iko na mercury kaingia kwenye market. The Kenya Power and Lighting Company is facing a growing crisis in Lower Eastern, with a surge in infrastructure vandalism severely impacting operations and driving up electricity costs across the country. In Machakos alone, 25 transformers were vandalized in 2022, with the number of that situation climbing to 30 cases in 2023. Now, the situation is even more critical in Nairobi, where 85 transformers were destroyed last year, leading to millions of shillings in losses through disrupted services and lost business opportunities. Addressing residents during a community outreach in Machakos yesterday, KPLC's Nairobi Regional Director Hicks Amumbwa Waswa said the rampant vandalism has become a major cause of persistent power outages and rising electricity prices. In response, the utility firm is ramping up its modernization agenda. Among the key interventions is the deployment of smart meters equipped with SIM cards designed to enhance communication with customers and eliminate the need for manual meter readings. Kenya Power is also lobbying Parliament Parliament to pass a proposal that would place street lighting under the Ministry of Interior, citing the escalating attacks on power infrastructure as a threat to national security. Sababu yangu ya kucheka ni moja. Yaani mtaka kuweka taa under the Ministry of Interior, under Kenya Police. Yeah? Is it that bad?
Okay.
Mnataka kuweka
something to think
street
about.
Lights.
Yes.
Let me say that again. Kenya Power is also lobbying Parliament to pass a proposal that would place street lighting under the Ministry of Interior, citing the escalating attacks on power infrastructure as a threat to national security. Yani lazima ziwekwe under the police so that the police can come and guard them. Police hawezi kuja tu kuguard bila hiyo kuwekwa under the Ministry of Interior.
Under the Ministry of Interior.
Banks are not under the Ministry of Interior, yet we have police officers manning banks. Yeah? Okay. Government institutions like ministries and even our MPs, they are not under the Ministry of Interior, yet they have police bodyguards.
They are guarded, yes.
So, what is... Or am I the one who doesn't understand?
No, you're making sense.
Am I the one who doesn't understand how legislature works? Because assuming,
yes.
Let's just assume for 10 seconds that they put it under the Ministry of Interior. Are we going to have a cop under every street light, or how is this going to work?
That is now my question. I think some of these things I don't understand. Like, okay, now sasa Kenya Power. Are you saying that mmeshindwa na kazi? Are you saying mmeshindwa na kazi mpaka sasa mnataka ku transfer this responsibility to others?
Okay, si kazi ya Kenya Power pia kukuja pale kulinda zile vitu za stima. Because Kenyans always find ways of vandalizing things. For instance, kuna hizi barriers zimewekwa kwa bridges. Wa Kenya hung'oa hizo barriers, wanaenda kutengeneza sufuria na hizo chuma. Scrap metal. Street furniture, zile viti za kukalia in the streets. Hizo vitu zimeng'olewa. I think hata ilifika mahali county government of Nairobi ikaacha kuweka hizo viti kwa streets. Kitambo zilikuanga zile za cement. Nowadays we are having they have been so vandalized. Unajua zinapelekanga wapi? Hapa tu jua kali. Uzi side za Kongamano huko. Watu wa jua kali hapa wanatutengenezanga sufuria supu sana.
Sasa zinapelekwa huko.
Na zile kamata za kushikilia sufuria ukipika ugali. Na vijiko zenye tunakula nazo kwa manyumba zetu na masahani za chuma. These metals in the streets ndio zinatengeneza hiyo. Unaona kuna hizi nyungu zingine za mabati.
Yeah.
Those metals zinangolewa kwa barabara na kung'oa hizi street lights. They go and melt them and then they make for us sufurias and then we go and buy them. Now, I think the government has tried for a while to clamp down on scrap metals. Yeah, but also they steal the wires within those electricity poles. The same wires wanaenda wanazimelt, wanaanza kutengeneza vitu nazo.
So I think what basically I was saying,
right.
Wacha tupate kwanza habari alafu turudi.
Tupate habari alafu tukija tutazungumzia more what is happening in the papers and of course that whole vandalism issue. Right now though, here is Winnie Maganga with the news.
The sound is fine, pump it up, turn it high, all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. Embu Senator Alexander Mundigi is now calling for tougher penalties for violent protesters in the country. Mundigi stated that while everyone has a right to demonstrate, recent protests in the country have turned into acts of looting, destruction of property and killings. He cited cases where several buildings in Embu County were torched during demonstrations, saying business people have suffered at the hands of people who took advantage of protests to loot. The senator was speaking to the media on Monday.
Na ile manduka ama ile vitu ni vijana na wasichana wetu wamepatiwa kazi na wako kule. Wakati wanafanya hivyo ni njia ambaye unakuta ule mtu mwenye sile kazi ameomba loan, wakati imeporwa hiyo familia automatically mtu alipi loan, mtu aende, watoto wake waende shule, wafanye kitu. Lakini wale watu wafanya hivyo, wewe sema ni watu wazuri, ni watu wa kuhalifu. Kwa hivyo mpaka kuwe mtu akipelekwa kotini, mpaka iangaliwe kama Nigeria inafaa. Na kwa sababu serikali, askari ana mtu wa kumtetea, akigonga mtu kidogo imekuwa ni shinda.
Kilifi County has made a historic shift in its political leadership, electing Catherine Kenga as the new Speaker of the County Assembly. This comes just weeks after the dramatic impeachment of former Speaker Teddy Mwambire. In a decisive vote held on Monday, Kenga garnered overwhelming support from members of County Assembly, receiving 41 out of 47 votes cast on the Assembly floor. Kenga becomes the first woman to hold a powerful Speaker's position not only in Kilifi but across all 6 coastal counties since the advent of devolution in 2013.
I am more than excited that I can clinch on first round 41 votes. That shows that there is faith in me in this county assembly. Happiness is an understatement. I think I'm more than happy, and I'm grateful that the members found it fit to elect me as their speaker. Women are going places. That one you should be assured. It gives us a sense of accommodation by the members, that even the male members found it fit to elect a lady as a speaker. That is confidence in the women leadership, and I'm grateful for that.
A man who assaulted a cop after being arrested for impersonating a police officer has been arraigned in court. Emmanuel Manyi Onyango was arraigned at Milimani Law Court for resisting arrest, impersonating a police officer and assaulting a law enforcement officer. He allegedly posed as an officer, arrested a civilian and punched an officer during an incident that occurred in Ngara, Nairobi on July 18th, 2025. Onyango denied the charges and was released on 100,000 Kenya shillings bond. The case will be heard on July 28th, 2025.
Manuel Mayo Onyango, you are being charged with impersonating a police officer contrary to Section 101, Subsection B of the National Police Service Act of 2011. Particulars are on 18th day of July 2025 at Ngara Total Energy Services Station along the Sire Road in Nairobi, within Nairobi City County, not being a police officer and without written authority of the Inspector General, pretended to be a police officer by arresting one Hakim, Fred Moura, over the claim that he was in possession of suspected stolen silver neck chain. True or false?
Avoid making last-minute changes to electoral laws ahead of the 2027 general election. Supreme Court Judge Njoki Ndung'u has urged Parliament. Justice Ndung'u warned that such delays could compromise judicial preparedness and the credibility of the electoral process. She noted that the country is already witnessing the early signs of election-related activity, with voter registration underway and heightened political rhetoric online and offline.
Because we also observe and we see what others are seeing. We see what the LSK is seeing, what the AG was talking about, what JLAC has told us about, what LG has observed. We see it too. The election processes towards 2027 have already begun. There is IEBC doing its work, registration of voters, etc. The executive arm of government is issuing the IDs, and social media is giving us a window to look in. It's giving us a look in at the tensions that are starting to arise, whether it is from freedom of speech.
Marathon great Eliud Kipchoge will not be competing in the World Championships. This is according to Athletics Kenya. The association's Youth and Development Director Barnaba Korir said the former world record holder has opted not to participate to pave the way for other athletes. Kipchoge's last call to participate in the Paris Olympic Games was met with backlash from a section of Kenyans who had questioned his inclusion despite not being at his best that season. Korir, however, noted that Kipchoge's participation in such major events inspires many athletes. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor!
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
Oh, yes, indeed. Radio Generation. Here we are, the People's Breakfast, indeed. Home of hard truths and bold insights. A big shout out to David Kimaru. David Kimaru is a former high school mate. He's tuned in. Na amesema atakupeleka Thika Super Highway akuonyeshe hakuna ya juu na hakuna ya chini. Amesema hiyo highway ni moja tu. Aya, sawa. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Super Highway.
Yeah, the Super Highway is just one. Amesema ndakushikanisha na David Kimaru. He's a very nice chap.
Anipeleke anizungushe Thika Road, by the way. Thika Super Highway.
The last time I checked, he's very single.
At what point do you call it Thika Road?
Actually, it's known as Embu Nairobi Highway. Yes, Embu Nairobi Highway, and but Kenyans being Kenyans, of course, because the largest town on our way towards outside Nairobi,
yes,
is Thika.
So
Wakenya waliita Thika Highway, Thika Super Highway rather. Actually, kitambo ilikuwa inaitwa Thika Road.
Okay.
Then wakati President Kibaki alijenga highway, ikajengwa venye ilikuwa, ikaanza kuitwa Thika Super Highway. But
so
in reality,
there is no Thika Road.
In reality, there is nothing like Thika Road.
Okay, there is no Mombasa Road.
Mombasa Road is there. Mombasa Road is there because even coming from Mombasa coming into Nairobi, ukitoka Mombasa, hiyo barabara sinitangwa Nairobi Road.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is actually known as Mombasa Road for that particular reason, because it heads to the second largest city, I think, in Kenya.
Yeah. Mombasa, yes.
Yeah. So that is why it was given that name. But Thika Super Highway tunaitanga hivyo because tu sisi ni wa Kenya. Even on Google Maps, it's actually written as Thika Super Highway.
Thika Super Highway.
But in reality, it is Embu Nairobi Highway.
Embu Nairobi. Okay. Yeah.
Now you know.
Okay.
In case
now
you didn't
I
know.
understand.
In case you didn't know. All right. So do stand by, because at 7:30 we shall be giving you traffic updates, telling you what is happening on the roads, including Thika Super Highway. But in studio, we have our guest. We shall be introducing him shortly. He is the former CEO of IEBC. He goes by the name of James Oswago. A lot has happened ever since he was there and after he left. Kenya has changed in many ways, more than one. So we're going to be talking about that and much more right now on this particular show. So if you have any questions for Mr. Oswago, you can let us know. Let us know through Radio Gen KE. That is where you can find us across all social media spaces. Na pia kama unataka kutuandikia WhatsApp, it is Radio Generation on WhatsApp. There's a huge group there. You can get on there and just basically get to interact with other Radio Generation lovers and fans. Yeah? Tuko pale, na pia as the People's Breakfast, of course, we do make sure that the conversations we have here are conversations that can uplift Kenya and take it to a different different levels, good levels, we hope. Now, before we introduce our guest, let's just check what is on the headlines. We have cornered by the public. This is on the Standard newspaper. A flood of disapproval from an increasingly frustrated citizenry yesterday pushed the struggling director of public prosecutions to drop the far-fetched terrorism charges against rights activist Boniface Mwangi. That story tumeshaguzia tayari. What's on your paper?
That is the Star. Biggest story is Raila's 2027 polls, a game plan unfolds. You can find that story on page 4 and 5. Yeah, that a strategy meant to rebrand his image, rebuild grassroots support.
Okay.
That is the biggest story. Tears of pain. Of course, this is about sports. Let me look at the Daily Nation. Biggest story there is eyes on the judiciary. A state turns up the heat on critics.
Okay.
The government has been accused of weaponizing the justice system to intimidate and silence dissent. Yeah. So judicial independence in the country is facing a litmus test following calls by executive to mete out harsh penalties on opposition,
Right.
politicians, anti-government protesters and civil society activists, some of who are facing terrorism charges and have been have been slapped with hefty bail and bond terms over their alleged involvement in recent youth-led protests. Will the judiciary succumb to this push or abide by the law and the constitution? Stories on page 4 5.
All right, good stuff. If you want to get your papers, that is what you expect this particular morning. But like we said, we have a guest in studio. So with no further ado, Mr. James Oswago, welcome to Radio Generation, the home of hard truths and bold insights. We do hope you've had a very good morning as you made your way to our studio. So karibu tena sana.
Thank you.
Let's get right into it. You are the CEO of IEBC. Maybe you can tell us some of the challenges you faced there, because people have been saying that if you're working for the IEBC, or if you're working within that organization, things are usually very tough. Is it true, or is it just a fallacy that is out here?
Thank you. Well, just as tough as working anywhere else. It's challenges.
Right.
But it's doable. People have done it before. And even since then, people are doing it.
All right.
So it's really nothing to write home about.
Well, a lot of Kenyans might not understand the difference between the CEO of IEBC and the chairman of IEBC. These are two different positions. Maybe you can just give us a brief overview of what your office does and what the chairman is all about.
The IEBC Act defines the position. The IEBC Act separates those positions. But you can go back to the Constitution of Kenya. I think it is Article 249, says that Chapter 15 of the Constitution. It says that in all constitutional commissions, you'll have the commissioners and the chairman, and you'll also have the CEO, who will be the chief executive. That is clarified in detail in the IEBC Act. And the Act states that there is a chairman and commissioners, and there is the CEO and the secretariat.
All right.
And it provides that the CEO, the chairman and commissioners, their role is strategy and supervision. And the CEO is the chief of the secretariat and also the chief executive.
Okay.
That is the structure as in the IEBC Act.
Right.
So you have two sets. You have the CEO on one part and you have the commissioners on the other. But there should be seamless harmony between the two.
Yes.
As they work. It often doesn't work like that. But that was the intention. And I think one of the major things that should be done in creating an effective and efficient IEBC is to reimagine and to rethink if that structure is correct or that structure should be changed. My own view is that it is time to change it.
Why so?
You know, the question is, does it work? For instance, the CEO in IBC should supposed to serve 10 years.
Okay.
5 years renewable once. And from 2010, when I was CEO, to now, that means IEBC should be on the second CEO.
All right.
But in actual fact, IEBC has had 4 CEOs.
Since you exited, or since 2010?
Since I came.
All right.
So I came and left, somebody succeeded me, left, somebody succeeded and left, and then they've had somebody else who's the current CEO.
Right.
Who stayed in that position for 4 years in an acting capacity. That is a very high turnover for CEOs.
True.
It means there must be something that needs to be corrected. And even this one, who is now the current CEO, like I said, was in an acting position. Who holds somebody in an acting capacity for 4 years? So that means there is something that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I have a view on how that should be done.
Okay. We'll get to the view and how exactly it will be done. There's a lot of pomp and color, if I may say, around the commissioners as opposed to the secretariat, and that's what we saw even during the current situation that has brought at the corner the helm of the chairmanship of the commission. But rarely do we see a lot of, let me call it, drama or pomp and color in regards to the secretariat. Again, for the sake of the listeners, why is that so? Even during your appointments, ni kama hatuonangi. So how do you even get to those particular positions?
If you were around when I was CEO, you wouldn't have said that.
Mm-hmm. I was around.
Yes, if you're around, then you
Yes.
knew
Uh-huh.
that at that particular time, they were almost co-equal. The CEO and the chairman, were almost co-equal. In all respects, it's not supposed to be that, but that is what it was. Ezra Chiloba became a very well-known figure during his time.
Right.
It has not been like that with the current CEO. But that is part of the problem, because that exposure brings many other tensions and within the commission.
Right.
Relating to who should do what. So you find this thing that people saying there are two centers of power. And really there have been, if we are to be honest, there have been a lot of tension between the CEO, myself, and in Chiloba's case also.
Right.
Where you find this tension between the two, Secretariat on the one hand,
the commission on the other
hand. It should not be there. But the reality is it has been there.
Is it because there are no clear-cut, do I say, responsibilities for the commission? Because, like you mentioned, and you even spoke about the constitution there earlier on, everyone should understand their role. Just like in a household, the children know their role. The father, the mother, they all know their role. And even the mother and the father have distinct roles when it comes to their position in the home. Is it the same for IEBC? Does the chairman know what the chairman is supposed to do, and therefore cannot at any one point infringe on the responsibilities of the CEO? And does the CEO also know the same thing, such that there is no clashing, and like you put it, no two centers of power? These are two different powers performing very different duties towards the same goal.
I think it is the design which in my view is defective. For instance, it says that the commissioner's role will be strategy and supervision. A commissioner comes to work at 8 o'clock and leaves at 5, works from Monday to Friday.
All right.
Has a driver, a bodyguard, and an office and secretary. By definition, his job is strategy and supervision. And the commissioner's term is 6 years. What is this strategy you will be doing from sunrise to sunset 5 days in a week?
Okay.
The way it is designed. That is one question. Second question is, if you understand management, anybody who has been to a management school, anybody with minimal exposure to management, knows that when you talk about strategy,
right?
Before you get there, it is not IEBC alone who has the structure of CEO and commissioners. You have about 11 constitutional commission. All these 11 constitutional commission have the equivalent of a CEO
and a commissioner,
one name or the other. In Parliament, they have chief clerk or scholar clerk.
Yeah, so that's the CEO
that's
of the Parliament.
CEO of that place. You have the registrar in the judiciary. So different names, but the same functions. So why is it that only in IEBC you have those problems? Because in my view, the IEBC Act tended to clarify, and in that clarification, the seeds of tension were inbuilt. And I think it was inbuilt because of wrong terminology. For example, when you say that chairman, commissioners do strategy, where does strategy come from?
Okay.
Strategy originates from the secretariat. It is the secretariat where you have the skills, is the secretariat where you have the institutional memory. They are there longer than the commissioners. Commissioners will come and go after 6 years.
Yes.
The secretariat will be there longer. And it is here where the capacity to build strategy resides. It is here to do research. It is here to do comparative analysis between what IEBC does and what other constitutional commission does.
Okay.
And then it says now that strategy role is now given to commissioners. You know, it is like commissioners will sit and say, our strategy is our own.
Okay.
The point is that strategy formulation cannot be left to commissioners alone. Strategy formulation is for the whole corporation, is for the whole institution. Commissioners will own it. They sell the vision of the corporation or the institution. But the Secretariat has a critical role to play in policy formulation, in deciding the content of that strategy.
So from what
Equally with the implementation. When commissioners have made a decision and now the decision is to be implemented, it is not like the commissioners will make the decision and then you implement it without commissioners being interested in what you are doing. You know, commissioners will be interested in what you are doing, how you are implementing it. So you can't just say that your job was strategy, mine is implementation. Now I'm implementing, stay away.
Because I feel like from what you're saying is that you come up with, as the Secretariat now, the Secretariat comes up with everything that needs to be done, then the Commission implements it. Is that in a nutshell what we are saying?
You see, the Commission, as per now, they design strategy and supervision. So we are starting from the point of view, what does it mean to formulate strategy?
Okay.
How do you formulate strategy? Whether you are in BAT or you are in breweries.
Yes.
Because strategy is strategy. So how do you formulate strategy at breweries? You don't find the board of breweries sitting in the boardroom and themselves in the exclusion saying, now as board we have come with a strategy. Board will have a vision of what they want. But the Secretariat of Breweries, for instance, will make a lot of contribution to the structure, to the content, to the texture of that.
Okay.
In the process, they are getting involved in strategy formulation. All right. So strategy formulation cannot be left just to commissioners
alone.
They can't do it.
Okay, and now we are talking of a transformation in IEBC, and of course we cannot talk of transformation without looking at those lapses that we are having. So from where you sit, you're saying that there has been that there has been a problem in the structures. So what would be your proposal to have functional IEBC? What would be your proposal?
In terms of that alone?
Yes, in terms just that specific part structures.
In terms of that alone, I've already told you about the high turnover in CEOs.
Right.
When I was CEO, after I left, there's a lady called Betty Nyabuto. She came as acting CEO for 15 months or 18 months. Then somebody else came. That person also left. And all these people who come and left live in acrimonious circumstances. Then they settle on the current CEO, who has been in the acting position for 4 years before he was confirmed, just before we went to the last general election.
Right.
I think when you work in an organization and they keep you in an acting position at the top level for 3 years, there is something wrong either with you as an individual or with the organization. But I think it is more a commentary, it's more a view on the organization itself, because they're the ones who are keeping you in an acting position. So what needs to be done, in my view, is, as far as IEBC is concerned, in my view, and these are the reforms that IEBC needs to go to consider two things. One, either establishing the chairman as an executive chairman, or two, introducing the position of chief electoral officer. Our structure in IEBC cannot be in isolation with the structures of other electoral bodies in the whole world. There are around 170 or so countries in the world, and they are calling themselves democratic. So we must also design our structures in harmony or to reflect those, because we are all in elections. I think if you have a chairman become chief executive chairman, so that the CEO or whoever it is now works below him. So he becomes like that, you see.
Oh, okay.
But as it is, you want to have a structure that conforms with all the other constitutional commissions. The work of IEBC, in my view, is different from the work of other commissions. Why is it different? You see, in IEBC, there is no university you go to, then you learn elections. You learn election by doing those elections. And the more elections you do, the more proficient you become. So, it is in the interest then of IEBC that you have people with a longer tenure. Because that is how you learn election. You accumulate experience. You accumulate experience by doing more elections, isn't it? So, that is different from, say, the Judicial Service Commission, or say, Parliamentary Service Commission, or say, Teacher Service Commission. In Teacher Service Commission, you can be appointed tomorrow as a commissioner, and from day one, you'll do that work because it's only 6 years. But in IEBC, because it takes longer for you to be proficient, for you to know it, actually, there is a body called International IDEA. It's one of the international bodies that deal with election. Their recommendation is that a commissioner should take 2 years to really, as a way of orientation and maturity. If it takes you 2 years to be proficient in running an election, and you have got 6 years,
Right.
that means you only have 4 years. Okay? So IEBC should not have the same structure and the same tenure as those other constitutional commissions.
Right.
And Kenya should look very carefully into that to find out how you change. Let me give you an example. We have commissioners today. These commissioners will run an election in 2027. They are lucky because immediately they are going to run 20 by-elections.
Right.
So they run the 20 by-elections, then they run the general election 2027. Their term ends in 2031.
Okay.
There is an election in 2032.
So we will need a new commission.
So these
For that
ones
one.
will get the experience to run an election by running the 20 by-elections. No, by running the 20 by-elections.
Oh, yes.
They'll use that to do the general election,
Yes.
2027. But now that they will have run the 20 elections and they will have run the 2027 general election and they are now proficient and competent, they take all that experience home because their tenure ends in 2031.
Okay.
So between 2031, on 2031, you recruit commissioners. The ones you recruit in 2031
Agree.
will run the 2032 election. Complete neophytes, greenhorns,
Yeah,
with
new
no
challenges.
idea on how to run an election. You see, it is because of the 6 years. Now, what I'm telling you is not just vain hypothesis. It has happened. In 2017, when Chebukati became a commissioner,
Right.
became chairman, he came with other commissioners, I think in January 2017. In the same 2017 August, they ran a general election. They had no exposure. They had not done any election at all. So the first contact they came with real experience
General
was
election.
general election. Are you not surprised that it was run the way it was?
Okay.
So that the Supreme Court said this is not an election. Because when the Supreme Court nullifies an election, that is equivalent to saying there was no election.
So let me stop you on that point and ask you a question, because there should be laid down procedures of how to run an election. So when the CJ then, David Maraga, nullified that particular election, whatever was presented to him, he nullified it according to the evidence that was presented to him. So does it mean that the commission at that particular point or time did not run according to the laid down procedures, or according to you, what? Because even if a new IEBC, like you're saying, takes over in 2031, they should just be using the blueprint that is there. Yeah, it's just like what we like saying, it's like riding a bicycle. You know, you put your foot on the pedals and you just pedal. So regardless of whichever bicycle you're given, you should be knowing how to ride that bicycle. Yeah. So the IEBC, as it is structured, and the laws and regulations that govern how IEBC runs, should be the same even if it's in 2031, 2032, or in 2037. So regardless of whoever becomes chairman or CEO, it runs smoothly.
And that is the danger. Because you are presuming that running an election is an everyday thing. Running an election is a very complex thing. Running an election is a very specialized thing. Running a general election is a nightmare. Running a by-election in the constituency is such a difficult thing. It's not that something you just wake up in the morning and tomorrow you do it and you are proficient in it. That's why I told you, to run an election, you need exposure. You need apprenticeship. And that apprenticeship is by running fast and running more. And the more you run, the more you become proficient in running those elections. Of course, there is a way to run an election. And you can be given a template. But where do you go to school to run it? The only school you go to is by doing it. So in 2017 that I was telling you, Chebukati was recruited as commissioners. Several months later, they ran an election, and you saw what they went through.
Yeah.
But by the time they were running the 2022 election, now they had the experience. Now the only problem was, it is not the same commissioners who are recruited in 2017 which transited to 2022 because 4 of them had resigned earlier.
Yes.
And a new crop came in. So my recommendation that the tenure should be longer is to make sure that your people who are there staying there longer.
Okay.
It is not like they are being recruited to run an election. Today we are recruiting commissioners. The person recruiting them has an interest in the outcome for the next election. And he knows these are the ones who will make that determination. You are incentivizing him to put in place, he's a politician, individuals who will be favorably disposed to his case.
Okay.
It would happen anywhere in the world. But if the people who run elections have a longer tenure, meaning they can run that election and the next and the next and the next, if you're a politician, you live with it. But as it is today, people who go to the like the ones who are there now,
Right.
they know they'll run the 2027 election.
Yes.
All right. And the ones who will be formed in 2031, all right, will also run the 2032 election. So the person who is influential politically in formulating or constituting the commission in 2031 has the incentive, being individuals, being persons, to bring fellows who is good to them.
Okay.
Even if this was a football team and you are the one choosing the referees, you would choose those referees that would be good for you.
Okay. I think let's talk about the independence of IEBC. Now, considering the fact that the executive has been involved, especially on the selection of the commissioners and so forth. And for the longest time, I feel that Kenyans, it's like they lack that faith. They do not believe again in the independence of IEBC. What do you have to say about it? Is IEBC really independent?
It is not sufficient for Kenyans to say IEBC is not independent. It is constitutional commissions do not defend themselves. It is a responsibility that resides in all of us as citizens to defend institutions. The judiciary cannot defend itself. Teacher Service Commission cannot defend itself. They can explain what they do, but it is up to us as citizens to defend institutions. See? And it is a responsibility that we must take upon ourselves. In fact, the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya says that all of us, it's our responsibility, it's our obligation to defend the Constitution. So, institution like IEBC, it is all of us to defend it. Now, when you defend an institution, you also criticize it. So your question is IEBC independent? In my view, IEBC has not been independent and will never be independent unless certain things are done.
Maybe you can define for us a little bit more, get a bit deeper when we say that it is, when you say it is not independent. Where is the, I'd like to use a different word, but it's not, it might not be appropriate, but why is it not independent?
When I say it is not independent, I'm being honest. If you go to the commission, they'll tell you they're independent. But the public perception, I should be asking you, the public perception, Kenyan public perception of IEBC is dismal. IEBC has a very low public perception rating. Why? Why is the rating of IEBC in the minds of Kenyans so low?
I think, in my independent view, it would stem from how it is constituted, from the nomination of the individual, actually from the
selection
interview,
of commissioners,
the selection panel that actually even selects the nominees, up to the parliamentary process that vets the nominees, and then the appointing authority, which is the president.
Excellent. So you're saying, in your own mind, that process of appointing commissioners
Is
in your
flawed.
own mind
Is flawed.
is flawed.
Yes.
And you are saying that that process can only produce individuals who themselves are bound to be partial one way or the other.
True.
So the question that you asked me, I've already answered. That in your own view,
Yes.
given those processes, it cannot claim to be autonomous. Now, it may want to be autonomous because autonomy is something that you will, and the people it's not only that you are autonomous, people must also be seen to be autonomous. If you go to a court of law and people say, you ask a judge, recuse yourself. And judges will recuse themselves. It's not because that judge has done something wrong, but you have this perception that this man is going to be biased, or this is not. No, so they leave the offices. So when Kenyans ask, is IEBC autonomous? Is IEBC independent? And some say it's not. It is because of the process that you yourself have said.
Okay.
Now, if we want IEBC then not only to be independent, but to be seen to be independent, then we must make certain changes. Changes in the manner in which we recruit those commissioners, changes in the length of service that we give these commissioners, and how we relate with them. And if you ask me to tell you, if you ask me, I can give you what in my view should be done.
Yes,
Please do.
In my view, there are a number of changes that should be done in AEC by way of reform. IEBC has done a fantastic job. IEBC has run an election in 2013, and IEBC runs an election unique in Africa and in the world. The election that we do in Kenya are actually 6 elections in a general election.
Okay.
It's not one election.
MCA.
There are 6.
Right.
Everywhere in the world, elections are segregated, apart from South Sudan. And you don't want to go to the direction of South Sudan in terms of your quality for elections. You don't want to go there. You don't want to be in the league of South Sudan as far as the democracy is concerned. Everywhere else in the world, take our neighbors, Tanzania, Uganda, elections are segregated. You have municipal elections, then you have parliamentary elections, and others. But in Kenya, for one reason or the other, it's a long history, we are doing 6 elections contemporaneously in one day. It is not done anywhere else in the world. But IEBC has been able to do a very good job in running those elections. We have problems about Kenyan elections, and when we say that, that conveys the wrong thing. Why? There are 6 elections. Nobody really complains about the 5. The complaint is on the presidential one. True?
True.
It's only the presidential. But you go to the same polling station, you deliver your ballot, And Article 86 of the Constitution says when you deliver that result cannot be changed. It is the result that you deliver at the polling station that goes to determine who is the MCA, that goes to determine who is MP, that goes to who is governor.
Right.
And that goes to determine who is president. But there is no complaint at all these 5 levels. There is only complaint at the president level. In 2013, there was a general election. After that, there were people who were dissatisfied and they went to court. The number was very large. In 2017, the number that went to court because they were aggrieved by the results reduced. In 2022, there are about maybe 15 or so. That is very good. It can only show that IEBC has become very competent in the manner in which it runs the elections up to the level, excluding the presidency. Kenyans, we must accept that. So IEBC has the technical capacity to run those elections at that particular level. Something else that Kenyans must know is that it is a very difficult thing to run all these elections, all of them once at a go.
All right.
So having acknowledged that, it is not perfect. So what are things that must be done? Number one, in my view, you have already mentioned it. Now, but before I come to that, aside from what I've told you, there is another reality which we must also consider before I start telling you what should be done.
Okay.
I've told you that in 2017, new commissioners came. In 2018, 4 of those commissioners resigned. And the position remained vacant until 2021. It means IEBC was run by 2 commissioners and the chairman for almost 4 years.
Right.
That is not the way it was supposed to be. See? Then in 2022, we had a general election. Then Cherera Folk resigned.
Yeah.
And we have been 2 years without a commission. That is not supposed to happen. If it is a constitutional commission, that is so important.
Yes.
And constitutional commissions in law are what are called, in law, they are called 4th branch institutions. You know, you have got the judiciary, the executive,
The legislature.
and legislature.
Then now the
independent commission are the 4th branch. They are so important. They are the glue that hold the system work.
Okay.
And the constitution gives the 4th institution, the 4th branch institution, certain roles. And their roles is, 1 is to preserve the sovereignty of the people, 2, promote constitutionalism, and thirdly, to ensure that the values of democracy and principle of democracy are applied across the board. So you can't have an institution like that being run 4 years or 2 years without full commissioners,
Okay.
or not without 2 years without it. So what should be done? In my view, we come back to the suggestion that I can make. 1, there is need for us to fund a mechanism of ensuring that when a vacancy occurs in IEBC, it is filled promptly in a manner that is not politicized, in a manner that produces commissioners which are seen by the people of Kenya to have been recruited in a non-politicized process.
Okay.
That means excluding the presidency in the initial stage. That means including parliament. That means excluding politicians.
Wait, did you say including parliament?
Excluding.
Excluding,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
All
In
right.
the initial stage. That means excluding parliament, excluding politicians. And when I say excluding politicians, I mean political parties. And I also mean excluding the presidency in the first instance.
Okay.
See,
In the initial stage.
in the initial stage.
Okay.
So in my view, what should be done? In my view, because that's 1. 2, I've already told you that for years, the IEBC has gone without commissioners.
Yes.
That has happened in 2 instances, now and the Chebukadisio. It means there's something wrong. It must mean that within either by institutional design or by law, there is nobody who is compelled or obligated and told when a vacancy occurs, fill it. When a vacancy occurs in the judiciary
Yeah.
and you give the judiciary money, they'll fill it. You won't even notice. All right? But in IBC, you stay for 4 years without commissioners. Now we have said for 2 years without. So there has to be a change. And in my view, the change is to form a mechanism of making sure that when a vacancy occurs in IEBC at the level of commissioner
Right.
or chairman, it is promptly filled in a manner that I've told you.
That's
My view is when a vacancy occurs, immediately IEBC notifies the Chief Justice. Then the Chief Justice would notify or direct the Public Service Commission. Public Service Commission is the entity that recruits for the government.
Yes.
Direct the Public Service Commission that a vacancy has occurred in IEBC, proceed.
So
Public Service Commission will not recruit, will not do the recruitment. But Public Service Commission will provide the secretariat to a committee that will do the recruitment. How will the committee be formed? I am proposing that we have a committee of 3 in law set up. And that committee will have 3 members. One nominated by the LSK.
Okay.
Why LSK? Because there is something called the LSK Act. And that law allows LSK to give advice to the government on matters of public interest. So LSK nominate one individual. They already do so even now.
Yes.
2, there's something called NCIC, National Integration Commission. Because it is their job to bring integration and harmony, they nominate an individual. Thirdly is the interreligious community.
All right.
Even now, they nominate somebody. So you have 3. I've already said 3.
From LSK, NCIC, and the religious
the
groups.
clergy.
Yeah, that is 3.
The clergy. Okay.
Then the question is, where do you get the chairman? My proposal would be the chairman is nominated by the Chief Justice from a person who has been a judge of the Supreme Court or Court of Appeal and has either resigned or retired or is still serving. So now you have the committee. In law, even if it means amending the constitution, is now amending the constitution, which says that when a vacancy occurs, the Chief Justice is told. When the Chief Justice is told, he talks to the
Public
Service Commission. And already the law has provided that these institutions will provide the committee when a vacancy occurs. So just a question of calling LSK, give us somebody. NCIC, give us the individual. The law already says so. And then interreligious fellows, give us an individual. They give. Then the CIC nominates the chairman of the chairman. And the chairman is somebody who is either serving as the Supreme Court judge or retired.
Okay.
Or has serving as Court of Appeal or retired. If somebody has served as a Court of Appeal judge and retired or served as Supreme Court judge and retired, these are people who are above a certain thing, you know. They have integrity, they have got something like that.
Yep.
Already that has given you a commission. That commission has excluded the president.
The
That
parliament.
commission has excluded parliament. That commission has excluded
Political parties.
Political parties.
All right.
See, it's already excluded them. And remember, the person doing it is the Chief Justice. And there will only be one Chief Justice in Kenya
At any given time.
at any given time.
Okay.
And I don't see a case where we have a Chief Justice which we think is political. I don't think we'll get back there. It can happen. But so far,
That is behind
given
Kenya.
where we have gone today, you need Nyuma.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, there's a question I have for you here, and it's in regards to the situation that we experienced last year, where the Deputy President of Kenya was impeached, something that had never been precedented before. This is the first time a Deputy President actually someone of the executive had been impeached. And we saw later after that, another Deputy President was nominated by the President, and Professor Kithure Kindiki took office. a lot of voices, and Kenyans obviously are not necessarily experts on this particular issue, but people were saying, how is it we have a deputy president now and yet we do not have an IEBC? Maybe for the sake of laymen and those who do not understand, like myself, what was going on there, and what these people who are saying that we do not have an IEBC, so we cannot have a DP. What was the meaning of that?
We don't even have to go there.
Yeah.
Because that is water under the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm telling you will solve that.
Mm-hmm.
If we have what I've told you just now,
Right.
you would never got there.
The process of having the CJ direct the public service
If you
commission.
have a mechanism for establishing an IEBC commission promptly and timelessly,
Mm-hmm.
you'll never get there. You'll always have an IEBC commission. I suspect, I don't have evidence,
Mm-hmm.
but I suspect that somebody must find it. Things don't just happen.
Right.
And you ask yourself, how is it that an institution like that can fail? It's not money.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's not a question of money.
All right.
Why does it remain and fail for so long? It's not money.
Mm-hmm.
It's either because either somebody has not been compelled to do it, or two, it is beneficial for somebody not to do it.
Okay.
And it is the proposal that I'm suggesting that we remove it from them, locate it somewhere, so that as part of the reform that will make IEBC have the public confidence that Kenyans want, we have that process. If we had that process, we would not, the issue we're talking about would not have arisen.
Okay.
All these things would have arisen when there is, if what I'm telling you happens, there is no day you will have, there's no IEBC. It's always be there, because the law will have said, you, when a vacancy occurs, you do it. Now, why do I say you remove the president, you remove parliament, you remove political parties? You remember recently, there was something called NADCO. They went somewhere.
Right.
And they were wrangling for a long time. They talked about electoral matters and what have you. Electoral matters along other things. Matters to do with changing and reforming the election should not be mixed with other political issues. Because if you do, political are self-interested animals. The issues of reforming IEBC should be conducted by somebody who is dispassionate and should not be mixed with anything else. Reform IEBC on its own. If it is a committee or whatever it is, reform IEBC. Because IEBC cannot reform itself. I've already said they've done a good job. But what they have done is not to their full potential. And we are saying, how do we make it reach their potential? All right. You've just given an instance where Kenyans were legitimately asking constitutional questions. How come? But you want to solve a problem, you go to the root cause of it. And the root cause of those is that for long periods, IEBC is unconstituted. And the reason why is IEBC not constituted? IEBC cannot constitute itself. It is up to somebody else to do it. And we need then to create the law, the mechanism to do that. And my view, to do it, you need to exclude those. And I said exclude them in the first instance. I didn't progress properly.
Right.
When you have formed that committee that I was telling you, and they are given days, do it in 3 months, and they have picked the individual, then that committee will give a name to the president. One name. Not 5. One name. When you are recruiting the Chief Justice,
right,
and you give the president names, you don't give him 2, you give him 1 name.
Okay.
So when you want to pick up chairman of IEBC, don't give the president 4 names. Give the president 1 name.
1 name.
All right. The president will look at that name. If he doesn't like it, he returns it back. If he likes the name, he takes it to parliament. All right? Parliament will vet the fellow. If they don't like him, they throw him away.
Okay.
But somebody has done that work for them. And if that committee constituted the way I've told you, with that chairman, who is a lawyer of that standing,
Right.
I don't think there is something else in a candidate that could not have foreseen. And they will have done the necessary consultation.
Okay.
So they bring to the president. Okay, Mr. President, we have recommended so and so. That is our recommendation, and they give reasons. All right. So the president is given work which is easier. He doesn't have the discretion to choose between 2 or 3.
Yeah.
As it is today, do you know yourself how many names were given to the president from which this fellow was picked?
No.
When Chebukati was picked in 2017, we know that Uhuru Kenyatta was given a set of names.
Okay.
We don't know those names, and we don't know Chebukati was number what in that list. But if we remove all that discretion and we say you'll give the president Gina Moja,
One name.
work, do it, and if you do a shoddy job, he'll tell you brought a thief or you brought someone like this. So they look at it. Something else that I was thinking is that we thought ourselves is that I said 3 plus 1. You don't need 10 people to pick IEBC commissioners. The bigger the number, the worse it gets.
How many people, in your opinion, do we need?
3.
All right.
You need 3 people. That is now, those are
The ones that you mentioned.
I've mentioned.
From LSK.
Plus the chairman.
Okay.
And in law, you say their decision must be unanimous. In other words, if they recommend you,
All 4 must have agreed.
must agree. You know,
So if there's one voice that says, mbuvi kidogo hapa hatuoni akitosha mboga.
do you know why? It will not only be movie that they're considering. They're considering 40 people.
All right.
Then they shortlist. Then they end up with Madam here and Mbuvi. And they are told you'll pick one unanimously. They'll agree on one person because they are compelled to agree on one person. They'll get one person. You know, these differences that people vote on come up because now people get subjective. Maybe we see Kabila, maybe we see Nini, but on the criteria, the key criteria, I have done executive selection for many years. And if you're looking for the chief executive of a multinational, whatever, you will end up with 2 or 3 candidates.
Okay.
And there is nothing that will stop you from agreeing on one. See? So in my view, once that is sorted, and that committee comes up, and it's a committee that people believe in, we will have sorted number 1 problem.
All right. Bwana CEO, let me just cut you down for a minute. We want to get into the news, but when we return, of course, we shall still get into this issue of IEBC, talk about more or less what the current IEBC is facing. You just mentioned about the 20 by-elections. We know the general election is also coming up. Some of the issues also surrounding just this whole issue and the political interference that we are currently seeing. So we'll talk about that and much more. But right now, though, allow me to introduce Winnie Maganga with the news.
It's 8 o'clock.
The sound is fine, pump it up, turn it high, all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. The Ministry of Health has suspended Dr. Lista Osongo, the Chief Executive Officer of the Nursing Council of Kenya. This is over what it described as a serious breach of regulations involving the Nursing Council of Kenya and 10 public and private universities. According to Health Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale, The institution submitted 42 Bachelor of Science nursing students for internship before the completion of their academic programs. Director Standards and Compliance Ann Mukuna has been appointed to take over the operations of the council until further notice. The judiciary is ready to fairly and effectively adjudicate electoral disputes as it prepares for the 2027 general election. Chief Justice Martha Koome said the judiciary is ready to handle the 2027 electoral dispute resolution cycle with fairness, independence and integrity. Koome pledged full support for the Judiciary Committee on Elections as it guides the judiciary towards achieving an effective election dispute resolution process in the upcoming election period. She was speaking in Nairobi during the launch of the Judiciary Committee on Elections Operational Plan 2025-2028.
I want to affirm the judiciary's stand that we are ready and fully committed to adjudicate electoral disputes with fairness, with efficiency, with independence in mind, because we are only committed and faithful to our oath of office, and we will do this with integrity, just as we have done in the last 3 electoral cycles in the post-2010 era.
The school community at Kakamega High School has been urged to remain calm following the sudden death of a Form 3 student at the school on Sunday afternoon. According to reports, David Oduor collapsed moments after scoring a goal during a football match at the school. The school administration rushed him to Kakamega County Government Teaching and Referral Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. According to the school's chief principal, Dr. Julius Mambil, the incident occurred in the afternoon and left students and teachers in deep shock.
Kama kawaida watoto hucheza mchezo. Alikuwa baadhi ya wachezaji wa timu yake ya Form 3B wakipambana na a combined team. Kwa hivyo mpira ilipo cross katika football, aliruka juu akahead na huo mpira ukamiss kidogo, mwenzake akafunga bao nyuma, lakini yeye aliporudi chini akasimama kidogo, akarudi hatua mbili na akacollapse.
Meanwhile, police confirmed the incident, saying the body was taken to a local mortuary.
Immediately, officers went to the hospital, established the scene that the boy had succumbed. The school administration, through the principal, informed us that his parents had been informed of the same, as the body was preserved in Kakamega General Referral Hospital.
Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya has reported back to his head office in Kitale after the expiry of a 2-month ban by a court in Nairobi. On May 20th, Natembeya was freed on a bond of 1 million Kenya shillings with an alternative bail of 500,000 Kenya shillings following charges of corruption. He denied the allegation. The governor had also been barred from accessing his office for 60 days.
People challenging those honjos at ESSC to really come out and tell the world, like they've always done, when they raid people's homes and offices, to say we went to Natembeya's place and we found this much money, we found that, we found this, and that's why we took him to court.
25 nations, including Britain, Canada and Japan, issued a joint statement on Monday with a simple, urgent message: the war in Gaza must end now. The statement by the US allies and partners across the globe and published online by the UK government condemns Israel's tight control aid distribution method. They're accusing Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's US-backed government of the drip feeding of aid and inhumane killing of civilians, including children. In a statement issued Monday, Israel dismissed the criticism. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generations, the people's breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The people's breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
All right, welcome back. This is Radio Generation. My name is Mungala Mbuvi, and of course, I'm with Patricia in the studio. But most importantly, also, we do have our guest, that is former CEO of IEBC, James Oswago. We were just talking about IEBC, its constitution, and what he thinks perhaps can be done differently so that we can reduce some of the problems we are facing as IEBC. Yeah, Patricia?
Yeah, yes.
All right, so if we can allow him, Bwana CEO, just conclude on the issue that I think nilikukata pole sana. We had to get into the news, but there's something you were mentioning. So welcome back, and just get right into it.
What was I mentioning?
You were talking about the constitution. We said 3+1. We were talking about having the 3 individuals from NCIC, LSK, the religious groups, and then the chairman. And of course, we talked about they might have biases in terms of who they select, but you said that we need to have a criteria and a structure to ensure that whoever is going to be taking these particular seats as the commissioner, as the chairman and commissioners, will need to be people of integrity.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was suggesting is that in order, it is unacceptable that there should be vacancies lasting long periods. That IEBC, instead of having 6 commissioners, and has 2 for 4 years. That we can have 2 years without a commission. It is unacceptable. So there's a need to have a permanent structure that makes sure that when a vacancy occurs in IEBC, those vacancies are promptly filled. And the mechanism should be such that it removes those extraneous political factors that I mentioned earlier in the initial stage. Now, once you build that team, it doesn't have to be a team, a working team. The law has just established that when a vacancy occurs, you trigger the mechanism.
It is filled, yes.
And it works. That is what happens.
Okay.
No? Even today, LSK will ask LSK, this is what the law, they will have known that when a vacancy occurs, we give somebody. So we, in my view, that is number 1.
Okay.
A mechanism to make sure that. 2, I told you, part of the reform that needs to be done in IEBC is to increase their length of service. Today it is 6 years. I think I just show you why 6 years is, I don't want to use the word ridiculous, but it's awkward.
Okay, it's not sufficient.
It's awkward because, and it's counterproductive, if not negative at all. And we went through that. So I said their term should be extended. And I said, in my view, should be between, not 6 years, IEBC commissioner should serve between 12 to 15 years. And there's a reason why. Number 1, what do they do in India? India has 900 million voters.
Okay.
And when India goes to an election, it has 900 million voters, 1 million election workers, 10,000 polling stations. But they have only 3 commissioners. Chief commissioner, deputy, and another commissioner. And the arrangement is that when the commissioner retires, automatically the deputy becomes the commissioner. And when the deputy becomes commissioner, the one who was commissioner becomes deputy commissioner. What it means is that it is structured in such a manner that by the time you become the commissioner or the chief commissioner, you have run 3 or 4 elections. All right?
Yeah.
Meaning you've been there for 10 years to be at the boss, to be at the top. So my suggestion is that 6 years is wrong. It's inadequate.
Okay. We have a question here from Mercy Kerubo on YouTube, where we are live. And Mercy Kerubo is asking, isn't there a way the presidential election can be done on a different day from the other elections, since this is usually where we have the problem? ? This is Francis Andedo using Mercy Kerubo's account. But yes, Francis is asking, can we do elections on different days for the president?
That is what I was telling you earlier when we started, that everywhere in the world, elections are staggered. Tanzanians are going to do an election in October.
Right.
Last year, Tanzania did the municipal elections, and CCM won 99%.
Okay.
We've already done that. Even if you go to the US, the same. If you go to the UK, there's always local government election. In Kenya, we are doing all of them. And that is what you find in the law, Article 136 of the Constitution and Article 142 of the Constitution.
Right.
It says that election will be done on, election of the president will be done on the second Tuesday in August, in the every fifth
year.
And all those elections done at the same time.
Okay.
In the effort to reform IEBC, we need to look into that also.
Okay.
Why can't we stagger these elections so that they don't become such a logistical nightmare? You do them differently. We cannot be averse to doing things the way other people do them. You see? The reason why we are lumping all these things to be done together is a uniquely Kenyan thing, responding to unique Kenyan needs.
Okay.
We need to vacate that position and say, we are now talking about IEBC in the future. You know, the problem we do in Kenya is you want to reform IEBC today with your eye on what they're doing in the next election. But we should be thinking of IEBC the way it will be 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Right.
All right. So I agree with her that those elections should be done differently. But as we are talking today, they'll all be done in one day.
So how can we then now, because the president is supposed to serve for 5 years and then seek re-election or retire. Now, we have President Ruto, who's going to serve until 2027 and seek re-election to 2032. At what point then can we now separate, or do we let him run for 7 years, then now in the middle of the 7 years is when we decide, okay, now can we now have a different presidential election? Because as it is right now, the constitution says president miaka tano na yake tano inaisha 27. So what happens?
These changes that we are talking about, this cannot be changes meant for 2027.
Okay.
No. This and that is the fault we make in Kenya. That when you are talking about from 2013, there have been numerous changes, numerous attempts to change how elections are run in Kenya, including the one in Article, the last one. One thing that is common with all these attempts, these are attempts to remove discretion from IEBC. These are attempts to micromanage IEBC. In other words, these are attempts by the political class to create an IEBC that can only arrive at a certain result that they want. But that is the wrong approach. We should not allow reform of IEBC to be led by a person whose eye is on the next presidency. And when those reforms come, they should not affect the next election. Like what I've just told you now, if you form that committee that I'm telling you, that can be done.
Okay.
But it should be done to affect IBC from 2027.
Okay.
I was just telling you about the tenure of electoral commissions. It doesn't have to be these commissioners. But it can start from the end of these commissioners, that you have them there for a longer period, you know, longer tenure. And I told you that is what they have in India.
Okay.
They don't say in India that electoral commissioners will be there for 10 years. But the way they have structured them is such that by the time you become chief commissioner, you will have been there for about 10, 13 years. Elsewhere in the world, in Canada, in New Zealand, and everywhere, and these are the leading
democracies,
liberal democracies, the tenure of people running election is about 15, 16 years. But somehow it came up in Africa after 1992 that there's a limited tenure for electoral commission members. I don't know, it'll talk wapi.
Okay.
So we have it in the constitution, and we are saying it is 6 years.
Well,
if
Mr.
I may, just another question here from the same individual. First of all, umesalimiwa na Eunice Kioko listening all the way from Kenya, Israel. Amesema, I'm here for the interview of the day. Haven't seen Oswago in ages, so clearly people have missed you. And then we also have Francis Adedo asking, ask him if it's practical to have the voters use just the national ID or passport without necessarily using the elector's card or the register, like actually ODM leader Raila Odinga had said a couple of days ago, that voters should just be allowed to show up with their voter's card and vote. Hii mambo ya register tusahau. I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not qualified to respond to what Raila said, but I will talk to you about a voter register. I didn't even hear what Raila said, but this is what a voter register is. The most critical assets to an election management body like IEBC is the voter register. The most critical asset. Forget about these gadgets. The one you cannot do without is the voter register. What you want in a voter register is a register where your name is only one in that voter register. So you don't have your name listed twice. And Kriegler Commission spent time talking about this. So the voter register must have highest level of integrity. To have the highest level of integrity, it means there must be a process where technology ensures that if Oswago has registered as a voter in Kenya, it is only that name Oswago alone. See? You can only do that
if you have a register.
If you have a voter's register.
Okay.
Number one. And you can only do that if your name is registered there. Now, when you start talking about these things of using ID cards, you know, that brings complications. Okay? That brings terrible complication. Because ID cards, is possible me to have your ID card.
Very
ID
possible.
cards get lost, you can pick and go and vote. You know? You, somebody is sick at home, you can pick the ID card and say, I'm voting. But if you have a voter's card, the beauty of a voter's card is you have a voter's card. You walk into a polling station. The first question is, are you registered to vote in that particular polling station? You have a voting card yourself.
I do.
Okay. You want to go and vote in Kibera. Now, you can only vote in Kibera. You cannot vote in Kibera then go and vote in
Runda.
No. So if you only using your ID card,
ID, yes.
It is difficult to say, okay, but can you vote only here? But a voting card restricts you that you will only vote in a specific place. Number one. Why is that in a specific place? Because by the time you go to vote, you will find your name already in that polling station. The name that you find in that polling station is extracted from the National Voter Register.
Okay.
It is not just written in the morning. It is extracted from the National Voter Register. And that voter register is inspected. When it is complete and everybody has registered, you are given time to go and inspect the voter register. So you can go and inspect, is my name in Kibera?
Okay. I actually recently confirmed mine. It is at my polling station.
So you go and confirm, is it in Kibera? All right? Because it is registered there.
Yes.
So when you go and vote, you find you are registered in Kibera. But how did you get that voter register? One, you are a citizen. Two, you have made certain qualification, because the law provides, if you are mad, for instance, clinical mad, you will not vote.
Okay.
Two, the law provides,
All right.
Not everybody who has a voter's card can vote.
Okay.
So the law provides for you to have a voter's card, you must meet certain criteria. So you met those criteria, therefore you can vote. Two, periodical renewal is happening because every day they're renewing. When you die, you are supposed to be struck off from the voters register. Yeah.
Mhm.
2, non-citizens should not vote. Meaning, if you came and acquired a citizenship somewhere in Kenya irregularly, and you say, I want to vote in Runda, for instance, you must live in Runda because they'll say, you must go and register there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is critical that the people who vote use the voters register because the voter register is the property, is the biggest, is the most valuable asset that an electoral commission has. If you have a voter register which is not purged of foreigners, which is not purged of people who are unqualified, where there is no double registration, you don't have a voters register.
Okay, how is the update? I mean, after how long is the update done?
Of this register.
Yes, because of course in Kenya we have seen so many issues, especially issues to do with corruption, whereby you realize that somebody died like 5 years ago.
Actually,
their names still exist.
My uncle died a couple of years ago,
Yes.
and every election I have gone to vote, I find
see
his
their
name.
name there. Yes.
That should not happen because well, I understand the reason why that happens. You don't blame IEBC for that. When you die, you notify the registrar of births and deaths. The registrar of births and death is supposed to notify the National Registration Bureau or something. And at that place they're supposed to cancel.
Okay.
When they cancel that you're dead, that should also affect the voters register.
Yes.
Okay.
But the voter register is renewed from time to time. It's continually being renewed and being cleaned. And it's also being inspected regularly. So the voters register think that it is up to you as a voter to go and inspect your to make sure your name is there and in what station. And you can even change stations.
Okay. Yeah, so but my concern was the issue, like what he has pointed out, the issue of having a relative who died long time ago, but they are still in the register of voters every now and then.
So, as a family, we should report it?
That should not happen. First of all, the family should report.
Okay.
And 2, it's only that we have not perfected the technology.
Okay.
But IEBC has done from 2007. IEBC has done a great job in having. There's a process called deduplication. That means that in the register, you only have one name. Like if you go to voters register, Kenya today,
right?
The register has got 50 million voters.
Yes.
That process ensures that there's only one name there called Mbuvi.
Okay.
You know. And this is done periodically and continually. And this is what IBC does.
Okay.
I don't think that idea was well thought.
Okay.
Well, can we talk about shortly about the IEBC 2024 Amendment Act? Because I see there are some issues that you've raised that are in this amendment bill. Act. There is also this one aspect of this review immediately after elections. That review, which should be done within, I think, within one year. That is after election, post-elections. Do you think this amendment is going to solve some of the issues that we have been having with IEBC, especially the issue of alleged rigged elections?
I have already told you that at 5 levels of elections, there is very little complaint of rigged elections in Kenya. There are very few MCAs who say they are rigged. Very few MPs who say they are rigged. Hardly any governor who say they are rigged. And if they are rigged, they go to court. And how do you know that the level of satisfaction at those 5 levels is high, because fewer and fewer and fewer are going to court. So there is very little outcry, very little hue and cry about the quality of election that IEBC has delivered in those levels. The only problem comes up at the level of the presidential election.
Right.
And it is time Kenyans stopped about beating about the bush. It is time we look at it and face it. The reason we don't deal with it well is we know it exists, but we have left it to the political class to solve. I've just given you an example, for example, of forming a standing committee that is non-partisan, that is not only independent, but is also seen to be independent. That is an idea that I've floated. Somebody can improve it, make it better.
Right.
All right. But you can only do so if you don't have an eye on 2027 election, so that you make those changes which will apply, say, 2032. All right? Post thereafter.
Actually, there are a couple of conversations happening online, and one of the conversations is about the best alternative to the IEBC traditional system, and the solution, according to this people having this conversation, is blockchain-based electoral management system, which they insist has enhanced security and identity. It is cost-efficient and has instant results, unmatched transparency, increased participation, and is eco-friendly. That is something that maybe we shall have a conversation about at a different time. Right now, I want us to focus on delimitation. And the new IEBC obviously has got that very important critical role. However, there was a deadline in regards to that, them reviewing the delimitation, which happened, I think, in October last year, 2024. So maybe we can just touch on that and explain to us when IEBC reviews these boundaries, what is the review about and what happens after this review?
The law provides, the Constitution provides that boundary review will be done once every 6 to 12 years. The last one was done 2012, I think. So we are already late. So the question is, what do we do now that we are late? And it would be easy if that was the only problem.
Oh, there's another one.
But there are other problems also.
Okay.
You see, this commission that has just been formed, they'll want to do a boundary delimitation. The law is very strict on what constitutes boundary delimitation, apart from the time plan that has been given. You can have as many constituencies as you want, and that requires a simple amendment. But there was a ruling called the BBI ruling, or the David Ndii ruling, and it said that you can increase as many constituencies as you want anytime.
Okay.
But the Constitution says boundary delimitation, you must follow certain steps, certain factors. And it says you must look at all those factors. If you want to exclude one of them, then you go to a referendum. It means, therefore, that in these people doing that boundary review, you don't just sit in a room like this one with a ruler and a map
and start drawing lines.
No. It is an intensive process. It involves detailed interface with stakeholders. You can't rush it. And once you've done, those stakeholders are allowed by law to go to court. 2, the law says that when the boundary delimitation is finished, you need 1 year between the time you have concluded it and the time there's another general election. If the next general election is 2027, we are in August now, it means then they have until August next year.
We're actually in July.
We're in July.
Right.
They have maybe July next year to do it.
Okay.
That is 1 year. I don't think you'll be able to do it within that period of time. Because I've told you, the Constitution, Article 29 provides 5 different things, 5 different areas that you must do.
Okay.
One of those is called population quota. Population quota, the purpose of the population quota is that there is a principle called equality of the vote. You also find that in the Constitution. And it means that as far as is possible, electoral units like constituencies should have as near as possible to one number. Before this constitution came into being, you had huge variations in the number of sizes of constituencies. Kiambu at one time had about 300,000 voters and producing 1 MP. There was one called Fafi, which had about maybe 20,000 voters.
Producing the same 1 MP.
Yes. So you have one constituency, 300,000, 1 vote. Another one, 20,000, 1 vote. And these votes are equal when you go to parliament.
Yeah.
It means the people of Kiambu are underrepresented. So the constitution said, no, let's do equality of the vote. So it says population quota to make sure that the number of voters in every constituency is as close as possible to one number. And it's about 100 and something that is supposed to be. How do you arrive at that? You take the number of constituencies, you divide by the people of Kenya in a census. Then you seek to find out if you can have. Now, you can't have that number. The law provides variations. For example, urban areas and rural areas will be different. The law also provides certain factors that you must look at. Historical factors, cultural factors, geographic factors, and economic factors, means of communication, community of interest. All those things are things that are considered in boundary delimitation. Those things you must look at. So it is not an easy matter. And I don't think they can be able to do it by that time. The question is...
Now what do they do? Because the timeline has already
That is the question.
Yeah.
When they were doing the election in 2022, the time had already elapsed. But you did the election in 2022 all the same. You are going to 2027. Can you use the excuse you had to do the 2022 election? Can that be extended to 2027?
Most definitely.
Because you're supposed to do it 2012.
Yeah.
But you didn't do it. But all the same, you did a general election in 2022. Means you are doing the general election in 2022 in spite of the fact that you've not done boundary delimitation. But now that you've not done it again, can you use the same excuse? Now, normally IEBC would write to the Attorney General or go to the Supreme Court and seek what is called an advisory opinion. And the Supreme Court will advise that very well endelea. Or the Supreme Court can say, no, you must do it. But I don't think the Supreme Court can compel IEBC to do boundary delimitation if IEBC does not have the capacity to do it.
All right.
But why are we where we are? You see, earlier on I told you, we have problems and we must look at them in the face and deal with them. Why do you think we are here where we are? I will tell you. You go to Kriegler Commission report. The Kriegler Commission report said the role of boundary delimitation and the one of elections must not be done by one body.
Come again.
The Kriegler Commission report. And remember, after 2007, we had the Kriegler Commission report.
Yes.
And it was called the Independent some IREC report. And it looked at our electoral things. And it came up with a huge recommendation. One of the things that it recommended was to say boundary delimitation and elections cannot be done by one body. That is the reason why in 2009 we had Kenya formed two bodies. You have Interim Independent Election Commission,
IEBC,
and Interim Independent Boundaries Commission. They were two. So Kriegler Commission say at all times you have two bodies. But when we were writing the 2010 Constitution, we put all those in one body. In other words, we ignored what Kriegler
recommendation
of Kriegler Commission. And now we are paying for it. See?
Yep.
Now, if you go to IEBC today, they have about 8 or 9 directorates. There is no directorate there called boundaries. The name of the commission is Election Boundaries Commission, which means the two are co-equal.
Yep.
If you go to IEBC today, you will find 8 directorates. There is none called boundaries. Boundaries is a department within, I think it's research or something. One of those directorates. It's a department within a directorate. You don't blame IEBC for that. See, remember earlier I said institutions cannot defend themselves. It is us to defend them.
By us, you mean Kenyans?
Yes. It is Kenyans to say this is what Kriegler Commission said, but this is where we have landed. How do you solve it? There are things you can do band-aid. There are things you must really sit down and say, imukono ikatwe.
But Bona CEO then, if we say that we want to, Kenyans should be involved. Kenyans have tried being involved in the politics of this country. And in the governance, not just politics, but in the governance of this country. And we have seen how things end. They don't always end well. If we talk about Sabasaba, and not just Sabasaba of 2024, we're going all the way to Sabasaba of 1990. Things don't always end well for the Kenyans who are trying to involve themselves directly in governance. So how would Kenyans, or how can Kenyans come and say, this is what we think should happen, and this is what we expect to happen, as far as the IEBC and some of those issues you've mentioned are concerned?
You see, you are radio generation.
Yes.
What stops you yourselves from saying we want to dedicate ourselves to reform of IEBC? We'll be calling experts.
Okay.
Every
Such as
now
yourself?
and again.
Yes.
And this expert should be geared towards this.
Okay.
So it becomes known that kuna shida.
Okay.
But you are talking of something that is beyond, is something that is larger. That will be your contribution.
All right. The rest of the Kenyans who do not work for Radio Generation or any other media house,
Those fellows Kenyans also get involved. You know, we don't just sit and wait. Oh, there's a general election coming.
Right.
Then we say, like what I'm hearing now, people are saying, about politicians say, whether it is you who is the chairman, we will still beat you. Whether it is you, now that is good for a political rally in Mathare or in Kibera. That's okay.
Taking you back to the issue of servers, for the longest we've been relying on foreign technology and servers for the elections, and there has been issues, and especially look at the 2022 elections whereby there was the issue of opening the server, and apparently we could not be able to do because it is a foreign technology. So what happens what happens in the way of reforming IEBC? What suggestions do you have? And the issue of procurement of the kits.
Now you see, Tax servers, for example. I've told you I do six election in one.
Yeah.
And you and me agree that in 5 elections there is no problem.
Yeah. Not major.
No, there's no problem. What there is solved by court. If you
sure.
Yeah, what there is, you go to court.
Sure.
And so far, you've not heard, as an adult and as a journalist, you've not heard Kenyans complaining that governors' elections are rigged. Have you heard? There could be one, and then the governor goes to court. Like there was the Munya case, which became very famous.
Yes.
We go to court, and the courts deal with it. So by and large, in the level of governor, senator, we don't have a problem.
Okay.
And if those problems arises, they are taken to court and there is adjudication. See that who is at the presidential level. You have not heard of servers at the
governor's
governor level. So the problem that we ask ourselves is, how do we solve that problem? Part of the solution to that is what we started with, the autonomy of IEBC. You want an IEBC that is sincerely autonomous. And remember when we started about how to recruit them? You remember I told you about the tenure, which I told you must be
15 years, 12 to 15.
15 years.
Yes.
I didn't say it. Their finance, IEBC should have, their finance should be secured, particularly for the general election.
Right.
So that when there's a general election, they don't go begging for money. It should be, they have a budget for general election, they draw it from the consolidated fund.
All right.
IEBC is independent. When you do those things, that makes IEBC independent, genuinely independent. You might find that those problems of servers will disappear. Okay? Because IEBC now will be able to resist. You know, you are the chairman. You've been appointed chairman of IEBC.
Yes.
And you know you'll be there for 10, 12 years. Okay, I've been appointed chairman. You are the president 2027.
Right.
And I know I will run the election 2027, I'll run the one 2032, I'll run the one 2037.
Right.
I know that. Just like a judge. You will hardly browbeat me, you will hardly intimidate me. You know, and my terms are secure and everything else. And commissioners also know we'll be here. You know. So then what servers is because we are relying on technology.
Sure.
Technology is not bad. It's very good. We were talking about the register.
Yes.
And I was telling you that the register needs to clean the register to make sure that one vote is only one vote. You can only do that by technology. You see, you can hardly do it manually by saying, oh, there are 50 million registered voters, let us check Oswago. That will take you forever. You need technology. But Kenyans must also ask themselves, do we really need the technology to run the election? And if so, where? Do you know that the technology that you use to run this election, number one, this technology in Kenya for the last so many years is made in France.
Yeah.
They don't use it in France. They use it here. They don't use it huko kwao. Number two, the shelf life of this technology is 4 years, 5 years. It costs 3 billion shillings.
And it will not be used in the next election.
You can't use it in the next election. Something else. Not only can't you use it in the next election, it is not dual. Do you know what the server does? You go to a polling station, right? Let's say there's a polling. What is this building?
George Padmore.
George Padmore building. There's a polling station. So you vote here, and you vote for candidate A. You vote for candidate B. When the polling station George Padmore closes, it is said that you voted for MCA Fulani, and you also voted for the president.
All right.
The same votes that you've done here, it goes to the constituency level. At the constituency level, the same vote that you did says so many people have voted for the MCA, so the MCA is elected.
Okay.
So many have voted for MPs, so the MP is elected. The same vote goes to determine who becomes the governor and who becomes the senator and who becomes all the others. The same vote that we voted in George Padmore polling station. But when that same vote reaches the National Tallying Center, there are problems. So we talk about servers. In other words, if it is possible, you could carry all these votes, all of them, to National Tallying Center.
Right.
But you cannot do that because of the distances, because of the balconies, because of whatever. So there are forms, that statutory forms which you fill at every polling station. And those forms which you fill at every polling station, you take them to the constituency polling station. And there, the returning officer signs and certifies them. It is this form
that is taken to the National Tallying
Center. Shida inatokea wapi?
Haya.
Wait. Where is the problem? Because you see, we have come from George Padmore.
Right.
We signed it. We carried that same thing to, let us say, Yaya Center.
Okay. Which is the National Tallying Center.
No. Which is the
constitutional. Okay.
Constituency.
Okay.
When we arrive there, you add votes from all these polling stations. Then you decide the MCA is Nifulani, the MP Nifulani, right? And at the Constituency Tallying Center, they now write another form saying that kulingana na hii, these are the people who voted for the governor, these are the people who voted for so and so, and these are the people who voted for the president.
Okay.
It is that is taken to the county. You don't take the votes to the county. You don't take the ballot boxes to the county. It is that form that goes to the county. So they are all added up. And you say, okay, fine, kulingana na hizi zote, Fulani is the governor, Fulani is the so-and-so, Fulani is the so-and-so. It is the same thing that is taken to the National Tallying Center. Shida inatokea wapi?
You tell me.
I already told you that you need a truly and genuinely autonomous IEBC. And I told you, you have that mechanism of appointing them, give them a longer service period, not 6 years. And I told you between 12 to 15 years. I told you give them a budget, particularly for an election where they don't have to go begging for money. I've told you, make up your mind. Either you have an executive chairman of IEBC or you have this person called Chief Electoral Officer. Canada has a position called Chief Electoral Officer. That is the person who runs elections in Canada. Hakuna commissioner mingi mambo mingi. Mingi. I told you that IEBC structure is problematic. IEBC is not the only constitutional commission.
Right.
Why is it always the quarrel between the
Secretariat and the commission?
Yeah. And you don't find that in Judicial Service Commission. You don't find that elsewhere. And my response to that, to solve that problem, is to have an executive chairman. Or have this one called Chief Electoral Officer. Hii maneno yote na fizzle. You finish all that. All right? And I've also said, when it comes to boundary delimitation, we need to separate them so that you have a separate body called Kenya Boundaries Commission. That is what they do in South Africa. That is what they do in India. That is what they do everywhere. India had a general election last year. But India was also going through boundary delimitation. And as they were going through the boundary, through the elections, the commentary in India as they were going through the general election last year was, how will the next elections look like? Why? Because they were saying the party that is dominant in India, that is called the Bharatiya Janata Party in India. There are two parties there. There is the Bharatiya Janata Party and there is the Congress Party.
Okay.
Bharatiya Janata Party is more dominant in the north.
It's popular in the north.
Yes, that is where the prime minister comes about.
Narendra Modi.
Yes. North Uko, they are more numerous, but they are not richer. In the south of India is a Congress Party. They are fewer, but they are richer. So as they were going for the election last year, and the boundary delimitation process was almost coming to an end, the commentary was not really who was going to win the election, because they knew Modi would win. The commentary was, how will it look like the next time?
Okay.
And they were saying, looks like because of population changes, the next time there will be more constituencies in the north than in the south.
Okay.
That's how they were looking like that. Because these things were being done by two separate bodies. Sisi tuliweka mpali moja. You don't do that. In South Africa, there is a separate body that does boundary delimitation. And I've given you the example in India. The only place where boundary delimitation is done by this, an election is done by the same place, is in the US. And it is a mess. There is a concept called gerrymandering. We just get gerrymandering in any other country apart from America. Because in America, in the state, the chief electoral officer is called the secretary to the state, is elected. And the boundary delimitation is done by the state legislature, the parliament at the state level.
State level.
If that parliament is dominated by Republicans, they will do boundary delimitation that favors them. So areas where Republicans are the majority, you will find that they have got boundaries that favor them. All right?
Okay.
And this has come up with this called gerrymandering. They can't solve it. You don't want to go there. So in Kenya, Curricular Commission told us what to do. We didn't do it.
Okay.
Now we are running into a problem of our own making, and we are not courageous enough to accept tulikosa.
Okay.
Let us correct it. We keep on going to IEBC. You can't blame IEBC for the fact that it was not able to run to do boundary delimitation.
All right.
It is simply not. You see, Cherera 4 had never run an election before they ran the general election. So they don't know how to run an election. Number one. Number two, Cherera 4, I'm talking like a Kenyan, what we picked in the papers.
Okay.
Cherera 4 had taken part in detail in the election. They were even there at the national, now the tallying. I was once in charge of a national tallying center in 2013. And I know, and the law says so, the people who collate and count the votes at the national tallying center is the secretariat. It's not commissioners.
Yes.
But secretariat do not say commissioners go away. No. First of all, you will agree this is how it is done. All right. Like your bosses.
Yes.
And your bosses have told you, call Oswago and interview you. Your boss may be listening, maybe he's not listening. But your boss trusts that you're going to interview Oswago. Your boss could easily come and sit here just to listen. You can't tell him go away, can you?
Of course not.
Yeah, if you want to say it, I want to see that. The complaint that I had from this group is that they were somehow excluded from the process. How could they be excluded from the process that they designed?
Okay.
Well, I don't know the details. Maybe I'm wrong.
All right.
But in my view, even commissioners will not count the votes at the National Tallying Center. They will be there. and you allowed access.
Okay.
But you agree with the secretariat, this is how you will count vote, this is what you will do. You expect them to do it the way you have agreed.
All right.
But it still comes back to what I told you. Autonomy. Independence. You don't bring commissioners towards the tail end. I'm talking of the Cherarafo.
All right.
You don't bring fellows toward the tail end, people who are selected